recent experience while micro and macro dosing psychedelic mushrooms. So before we get started into that, I do want to backtrack a little bit here. Some of y'all are wondering, like, how did this even get started? Let me tell you. 2 years ago, I was at a personal development seminar called Landmark Forum. That is where I met my friend, the medicine man, who I did my first DMT experience with. That opened my eyes and opened many doors. So I've been healing physically for quite some time, with food and watching what I put in my body, things like that. I started healing mentally a few months ago by going to therapy willingly. Makes such a difference. And then finally I was like, all right, now my soul needs healing. How do I do that? I didn't even know where to start, where to begin. I looked into shadow work and I got lost in how to do that. And I stumbled across psychedelics. And with my recovering drug background, I was like, oh, that's illegal. But I was intrigued. Why not plants? You know what I mean? I also use cannabis products. What's the difference? So I decided to do some digging. A few weeks into that, I stumbled across a lady named Kathleen O on TikTok and watched her for about a month before I decided to reach out and ask her about microdosing protocol. With my own research also, I've discovered that so many people have tons of anecdotal evidence of them using psychedelics and having life-changing results. I'm talking depression, suicide. They've all come out of these things. Pain, there's, some analgesic value to these plants, things like that. Some of the most remarkable things I have seen are people who are so depressed and suicidal and they have nowhere to turn. They've done psychotropics, they've done therapy. One man even did electroshock therapy where they literally send you into a seizure to reset and hopefully reprogram your brain by inducing convulsions. And that didn't work. Traveled down to Peru, did some ayahuasca, and now he has the will to live and a whole new meaning to life. So I was like, all right, there's got to be something to this. I'm not depressed. I'm not suicidal, but I have extremely high anxiety and I have this constant racing mind. I worry a lot. I, try to filter out the 1,000,001 scenarios that are like never going to happen, and it stresses me the fuck out. So I was like, I'm going to try it. I ordered, it arrived in my mailbox, and looking at the bottle, I was absolutely terrified. I was so nervous and I remember I reached out to a friend. I, for this moment in time, will not do psychedelics without a sitter. I personally don't believe in it. Even the most experienced psychonaut can have a bad trip. And because it's unpredictable. The medicine, the plant, whatever you want to call it, it's going to show you exactly what you need at that time. Every experience is different. And sometimes you get shown some really scary stuff and you're sometimes not able to differentiate reality and fantasy, and you need someone to help you and make sure that you're safe, okay? So if you are a newbie to psychedelics, you're curious, you're just dabbling here and there, always have somebody with experience with you, and also knows safety protocol, things like that. So I called my friend, I had her, she sat with me, and this is how it went. So I took one. These caps are 550 milligrams a piece, which is actually on the higher end if you're microdosing. If you intend to do a macro or recreational dose, you're gonna have to pop a few. My intent for this experience was not to microdose. I wanted to enter a trip and have a enlightening experience. That was my goal. I had set some intentions. I cleansed myself. I had my friend cleanse me. I cleansed her as well. We kind of smudged the whole house, and we set some intentions for what was about to happen. Always go in with a very clear mindset of what you want to accomplish. It's not just to get high or get fucked up. These plants and this medicine is meant to be respected. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there. After about an hour, I didn't notice really any difference. But again, you're not supposed to because it's microdosing, but I didn't know what I was getting into, okay? Again, I'm used to illicit drugs that within minutes you have some sort of euphoria. Took another cap, waited another, 30 or so minutes, wasn't feeling anything. I got tired, I got fed up. I was like, all right, done. popped 3 at the same time. So I am a total of 5 in, or I'm 5 deep with these capsules. So that equals 275, or 2.75, I'm sorry, 2.75 grams, which 3 grams is a traditional recreational dose of psilocybin. And I'm right under there. I'd say 30 minutes in, started to notice some effects. Life-altering effects. My walls were breathing. I could see colors and vibrations. Everything was constantly doing this. There was trails, like if you went like this with your hand, there was like 100 hands following behind. That was actually pretty cool. That was a very nice experience. My mind was still there. I was extremely aware of what was going on. I knew I was hallucinating, and I was totally okay with it. I started to have something like phases. I would feel this rising up in my body, this like vibrating almost, and I knew it was coming. And me and my sitter actually had this joke. We're like, oh, but she's blasting off, because that's what it felt like. I couldn't control it. I couldn't stop it. It was something happening internally that I could not turn off, and it would like rise. It would start from the bottom of my feet and it would come up, and once it got to my head and it reached my mind, gone. I was still here. It's not like DMT where you like leave, your soul is gone. This was like I got transported into like this state of mind where I knew where I was, I knew who I was, and I knew who I was with, but looking at everything, it felt like just this information was being downloaded in my head. Like, even though I'm looking at a wall, I'm not thinking about a wall. I'm not thinking about a house or an occupied building. Those were not the thoughts. I can't tell you exactly what was being given to me, but I could sense information flowing in. Is the best way I can describe it. I found a lot of comfort in looking at colors. So my house is painted very high contrast, and there's a couple of paintings or picture frames with signs, you know, they've got letters and words, cute little sentences. I stayed away from those, and I remember in my mind, this was the thought process that happened. I said, I'm just going to look at the colors because those are safe. Those words, I know I'm in a heightened state right now. Those words could mean something totally different, and I'm not ready for that. That's what I thought. And I told my sitter that too. I was like, you know, that whole life, laugh, love, or live, laugh, love shit that everybody has in their kitchen. Right now, in the state of mind that I'm in, that's so deep right now. And I cannot fathom the deepness of y'all's Ray Dunn signs. I just can't. I can't do it. So, and I was aware of that, which was amazing. Next, what happened? I just stared. I kind of stared off into space. I would, you know, I was really taking in the whole experience. I was quiet. I didn't do a lot of talking. I was also watching this video, or not a video, a documentary on Netflix. It's called Have a Good Trip. The halfway point of the Netflix episode, the producers and stuff thought it would be an awesome idea to make all of the imagery and voices and music totally trippy. And my sitter actually noticed it, and she was like, oh, that's fucked up. They know that people are tripping watching this. And when she said that, that triggered something in me, and I was like, so what I'm seeing, is it real? Is this true? Like, I can't even hear what they're saying. And she's like, yeah, they did that on purpose. I'm like, who is they? Who did they? You know, like, I started nothing could be taken literal. I started dissecting everything. It's like when people talk to you, you see through their words, you hear the behind the scenes message of everything they say. It was like everything was a conspiracy. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't scared. I just dissected everything. I was like, there's a deeper meaning to that. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Like I was on some CSI investigation of her sentence. Who does that? But I did. They tuned the music up so high, it kind of drowned out what the people were saying, and I could see their mouth moving. I knew they were talking, and I was trying to like get into the conversation. Felt like trying to figure out what point can I step into the conversation and I'll be okay. Like I'll understand it. Never happened. I'm like, all right. no, I don't know what they're saying. Just forget it. It felt like too much. At that point, I knew it would be overstimulating, so I stayed away from it. Important phases were starting to get more and more intense as far as mind stuff works. I started to feel buoyant. I had this sensation. I could sense space. I knew I was displacing air and molecules as I moved my body. I could feel that, and I knew that that's what's happening. See, we go through every day just, moving our hands and, moving our bodies, and we don't sense the displacement that we're moving, the energy out of the way. I could feel that. So amazing. That was really cool. Another thing that would happen, my thermostat was set really low, and I didn't notice at first, but it started to actually intensify the trip. I started to shiver because I was cold, and I couldn't stop it. The shiverings, for some reason, would trigger a really intense phase, or blast off, as we would call it. And it took me to almost a place of ecstasy, like sexual ecstasy. Every cell in my body was just, electric. It felt amazing. But again, my mind was still there. Sitter was like, "Are you good? Like, you all right?" I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay. And I'm trying to talk, and it's getting really hard at this point to talk because I'm like gritting my teeth and chattering. And she understood. There was a point that she's like, "No, I got you. I know what's going on." So that's why I say always get somebody who's got experience, so they're not freaked out when you're having, your moment. You know what I mean? Like, they know it's totally part of the process, and they're not going to get freaked out. If you don't learn anything from this video, just know that. Make sure to have a sitter with experience, period. Crying, uncontrollably. I wasn't sad though. I was not upset. The crying was just a release. It was a way for my physical body to release what was happening to me spiritually. And again, my sitter was like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes, I'm fine. My soul's doing something right now." That's what I was telling her. I was like, "This is some soul stuff." And I said it in like 2 or 3 words because I was still chattering my ass off. And she understood. At this point, my sitter had been with me for quite some time, for some hours, and she did have to go to work the next day. We did have an agreement that when she clocked out, my husband would clock in. My husband has one previous experience with psychedelics, but it was many, many years ago. I will say this in his defense. He was so tired, guys. He was so exhausted and so wore out. I thought I was actually going to be done pretty soon, but I wasn't. This was like the peak. I still probably had 4 or 5 more hours to go. Didn't know him all the time. I'm like, "Are you mad at me? Please don't be mad at me." I was like, "I'm sorry. I'm just trying to experience this and trying to get, everything I can out of it. I'm sorry it's taking too long." He's like, no, I'm just tired. It's okay. At this point, I'm about 5 hours in, and there's no more phases. This shit was like, buckle up, we're going for a ride. And it did not stop. Constant visual distortions. I'm having auditory hallucinations at this point. Voices were extremely deep, like baritone. They sounded slow. What's the next thing that happened? Kind of stuck on the toilet. I remember that too. TMI, sorry, but I want to throw this out there because I don't want to leave any part of the experience out. At that point, I was on my cycle, right? I was going through a menstrual cycle, and while being on the toilet, I had this thought in my head. It was like, "You're cleansing," like, of course, right? Because that's what your body physiologically does. But I had this like connection with my physical cleansing. It was also tied to my mental and spiritual cleansing that was now currently happening. So it was like they were all tied together, and I got to physically experience it through my menstrual cycle. I'm just gonna sit here and cleanse. "Oh yeah, your period lasts for like 5 days. You should get up now because you don't want to be here for 5 days." So I got up, and my husband's in bed now. He's crashed. He was so tired. And I am like up there. And I didn't want to bother him. I still did, but I tried not to. I laid in bed. I couldn't really get comfortable because even though you close your eyes, you still see things. So it's not a hallucination from your actual visual cortex. It is your mind. It's like a projector. and you can't turn it off. I'm trying to like get calm and relax and, you know, do all the things to get comfy. Tried snuggling my husband. That did not work. Sexual arousal during a trip is a thing. And because of, you know, me going through my cycle, that didn't happen. But I'll tell you, I was like, I thought to myself while laying next to him, I was like, man, oh man, like if this was not happening, you would be in so much trouble right now. Starting to have realizations in my head that I was getting more and more information. So be prepared. If more downloads are coming in, Valerie, these are going to be pertinent. These are extremely important. Don't miss out. I was like rubbing my husband's skin, and his skin turned to like digitized. It was zeros and ones, like the analog code that computers use, or binary, whatever they call it. I forget. But he was completely digital. And in my mind, or whatever was talking to me, the plant, the spirit, the source, whatever was talking to me, because it was me, but it wasn't me, because, you know, we're all connected, was telling me, it was like, consciousness has the capability of being digital as much as it does being what we consider reality. You know, like this is a cup of juice and I don't see anything digital about it. But when we go into our computer world, right, when we, you know, go on the internet and we send emails, or, you know, we're scrolling social media, that's all digital. That is all zeros and ones and code and stuff like that. Consciousness also has the capability of being that. Like, is that too? That was the most mind fuck that I had, the most mind-blowing mind fuck that I had during that experience. A few days after I had that realization, I was scrolling across one of my friends that I keep up with their social media, and they posted that. They said something along those lines, that consciousness also has the capability of being digital as much as it does being what we see. So I thought that was really cool. My houseplants, I have plants all over my bedroom. They were the brightest green, like colors were so intense. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, that is a beautiful plant. Like, I wish I saw like this all the time. It had stardust, like sparkly. It was like galaxies were patched into whatever flesh the thing was wearing. So galaxies were in my husband's skin. Galaxies were in my skin. They were in the plants. They were in the bed, the walls. Because if you think about it, everything, even hard things like this table, they're all just, you know, atoms and molecules condensed together, but they're all moving really super fast. But how we perceive them is this, but it's still energy, and energy is, you know, galaxies are energy too. I don't know. It's just, I got really clear that we're all connected. I had that experience anyway with DMT, but I got to see it again in a different way. And it was beautiful. It was absolutely amazing. I rolled over and my closet is like packed full of stuff. Okay. I need to go through it and organize it. But it started to melt. And these are shadows at this point, like the shadows that used to scare me as a kid and turn into monsters that weren't real. This time they turned into monsters that to my eyes were real. But my mind, still aware, it was like my mind was actually kind of separate the whole time and kept me very grounded. I was thankful for that, because sometimes I hear of experiences where people can't tell the difference. I was lucky. I was able to this time. I definitely concede my ability to do that because I have so much willpower today, especially getting clean off drugs and personal development and things like that. My mind has been exercised a lot these past few years, so I definitely I think that's the reason why. And the things started to melt into my closet. They were monsters. They had glowing eyes. And I remember looking at and like rolling my eyes. I was like, please, you got to do better than that if you're going to scare me. I was just totally like had an attitude towards it. I thought it was the stupidest thing. Like, how dare you try to scare me with that pathetic stuff? Like, you got to do way better than that. Melting in my closet. Ooh. So it was like I was mocking them. And then I also had a moment of like gratitude for them. I was like, you know what? Thanks for trying though. It showed me that I was that thing that represented something in my life. What, I don't know, but whatever it was irrelevant now. It didn't scare me now. It no longer held the same power that it used to, and that's why I was able to laugh at it. Like, but I was grateful that it was there, because I was like, thank you for showing me that though. Thanks. Moving on. Fan. So now we're really at the end. This was right before I started to come back to reality. My fan at the top of my ceiling, the blades made like this portal, and inside, up in this portal, it's very mechanical, almost like, I hate to say it guys, but an alien spaceship. Yeah, that's what it looked like. And from this alien spaceship, the fan had the shape, the way it was, the three lights, it was like two eyes and a mouth. It was the teacher. And I thought it was funny because the shrooms that I was taking was called Golden Teacher. And she was delivering some last bit messages right before she let me go. And I could hear that voice in my head saying, it's like, all right, it's almost time to let you go. There's a couple more things though before we do. And it was a very gracious release of letting me go and like returning me back to my earthly plane, if you will. There was this moment where I thought to myself, it was like, you know what? You know how powerful you are? You can have anything you want. All you got to do is want it and believe it. And then my ego was like, my ego had been dissolved pretty much this whole time, this whole 7 hours. But for a moment, it just popped back up and was like, hey, Val, but you know, that's gonna cause a lot of problems, and you're gonna have to like do a lot of things to get that. Do you really want to do that? Are you really worth that? That's really what it was saying. Are you worth it? Do you believe that you can have that? And it was like the universe stepped in and kind of like kicked my ego's ass and was like, I could feel like a fight happening. And I was watching my ego and my astral self argue about me. And finally, the universe looked at me with the fan teacher look and was like, listen, you're about to miss out. All right. Like, I'm giving you this chance. Do you want it or not? You don't have to. I'm not going to be mad if you don't, but do you want it? And I had this like upwelling in me like, yeah, I don't want to miss out. So I did. I made an agreement, a mental agreement, a soul agreement, if you will, with the universe. And since then, so much has changed. So I'm actually going to do a separate video just for that. Because I like to keep these videos around 15 minutes. And I know I've gone over. So that was pretty much the experience there. I got up to go to the bathroom and I kind of started feeling like I was sobering up. My first dose was around, or the major dose was around 10. I finally came back to reality by like 5:30-ish a.m. So absolutely amazing. I learned so much. It's definitely not something you do like every day. I can't wait to do it again. So yeah, that's pretty much the experience. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, if you want to know my source, I'm going to put the link down here. There is a discount code for you to get 15% off. It is legit. They do ship to the US. I'm not a scammer. I'm a real person. And these are the products that I use. Okay. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. I love you guys and I'll see you next time. Like, share, subscribe.